It is yet another week, and it is yet another chapter review for One Piece. And before we get too far into the video, my voice is gone yet again. I don't know if it's the same thing coming back to get me twice as, what was it, 1046? But I've been dealing with a bad throat for the past few weeks, and just when I thought I got over it, I haven't. So if I cough and I don't cut it out, that's on me. But the chapter, 1048, is named 20 years. And for the first time in I think a few weeks, I do want to talk about the cover story. Also, again, the significance of the name 20 years after the cover story explanation. So the cover page is a picture of Brule and Cracker talking about it. And Brule thinks that the people coming back to get the Vinsmokes are the Vinsmokes, Germa. With the caption, "Is Germa trying to infiltrate Chocolate Town again?" But this isn't a cold hard confirmation that it is Germa, that they are 100% coming back because, as someone pointed out, the shoes don't exactly match what Germa wears. We know what they wear with the big boosters in the back. They could be, and it could have just been either an artist mistake on Oda's part or an angle thing where you don't actually see it, whatever, because all we saw was the back of their shoes. Another very likely idea is that this is the Blackbeard Pirates coming to get something, either Big Mom's poneglyph or something. But we see that Cracker is still bandaged up from his fight from Luffy. And another interesting thing I want to note is that these are the two, in my opinion, second highest Charlotte children other than Katakuri. So he's like top dog, and then these two are kind of under him. So I wonder if we're going to see Katakuri fighting, because him versus Luffy was a very draining fight. So if he comes back in the cover story, even as a cameo, I would love that. Also, the exclamation point that we've been seeing for the past few chapters for this. Last time it was a chocolate bar. This time it is Biscuit's hair. Or Cracker's hair, sorry. Is it Cracker? I think it's Cracker. But the significance of the 20 years title, like I said. The chapter itself is not the most action-packed. There are 2 or 3 attacks thrown this chapter. Most of it is spent to a flashback. A flashback of something that we, in my opinion, have been needing to see. And that is Wano post-Odin, but before Luffy. So we need to see, in my opinion, what was going on in Wano. We need to feel emotions. We need to see the shit that Kaido is putting the residents through. And this chapter does that amazingly. So moving on into the chapter, we are going to start off not in that flashback, but we start off with Momonosuke, Luffy, and Kaido and I guess Yamato, with Onigashima needing to be moved, because Luffy says that he's gonna punch straight through Onigashima, and Momonosuke says, "I can't do it. I can't move Onigashima," and he starts saying it's not possible, but then he gets, I guess, like, not PTSD flashbacks, but like deja vu flashbacks from his family, saying, "I know you will find a way to revive the Kozuki clan in the future." And with that, he headbutts Onigashima. Like a very desperate headbutt. He knows that he's not strong enough to move it by himself with the flame clouds, so he's using the only thing that he can use with it, which is his new physical strength. And I think something that happens later on in this chapter being we get to see the lanterns, and they are holding more of a significance. I think this, with Momonosuke, is showing that the lanterns will 100% be important, which is another idea that people have had, that the flame cloud that Onigashima is being held up by will fall when Kaido passes out. We've known that. But if Momonosuke can't hold it up, it's going to crash, which is the worst case scenario, other than Luffy not being Kaido. But with the lanterns coming up, that gives an option for Momonosuke using his tail or something to destroy the lanterns and use the flames to hold Onigashima up. I think I talked about this before. The people of Wano sticking up for themselves, protecting themselves from Kaido. And this could be a very short-term option, with Zunesha holding Onigashima up afterwards. But moving on from there, we have dialogue from Kaido as Luffy goes for his, as I think I called it, like, gum gigant over King Kong gun, something like from the movie. But we do get a name for it later on. But we get Kaido's dialogue saying, "Very well, I'll take this one head on. Haven't you heard, Straw Hat? This country's hero burned to death 20 years ago." And then he uses some kind of flame breath that consumes his body in something that he calls Flaming Drum Dragon. And then he goes on to say, "This has been a lawless land since then. They've waited for this time for you saviors to show up." And we get a translation note that the kanji directly means Great Blazing Dragon Torch. But phonetically, it sounds like Kain Daiko, which I am not the best at pronouncing Japanese. Apparently, it's a classic Rakugo tale, which I don't know what the significance of that is, but there. And then we get to see that this new fire mode is hot enough to burn Luffy's hand. But Kaido gives him assurance, "Don't worry, it's okay to let go. I assure you, I won't run. After all, your right hand won't come crashing down because I'm going to vaporize it." And then he uses his tail to melt off the horn of Onigashima. Like, not even like a slight slash. Like, he straight vaporizes it. And Luffy, as his normal self, is, "I won't let that happen." He announces attack. And he starts thinking about what the old man taught him in the prison, which is Ryo. I think it's supposed to be just him remembering haki that the guy taught him, Hirogoro. And Luffy makes a comment, "He taught me how to attack without making contact. I'm going to knock you to the bottom of hell." Because Luffy doesn't necessarily have to get hit by Kaido's attack. He can just use imbued Conqueror's haki or imbued armament haki to not have to hit Kaido. Then we get to see the name of the attack, which is Gumu Gumu no Badrang Gun. But I prefer to call it, because translation note on this panel is the Hindu monkey god, referred to as Bajrang, I believe. But it translates to Monkey King. So in my mind, it's Gum Gum Monkey King Kong Gun, just because King Kong needs to be a constant thing in my mind with the big fists. Just my own thing. But then we get to see that Kaido is using an attack called Rising Dragon Blazing Baguya, which seems to just be him rushing Luffy with his head on fire. And he has his jaw open, so I'm going to guess it's going to be a blast breath point blank range against Luffy's hand. Then we get the last two panels of their skirmish, which is Luffy recoiling from the attack, Kaido doing the attack. Luffy's fist is still out. Then we cut to another interesting thing in my mind is Usopp dropping Kinemon and Kiku, which is why it's so interesting to me is Usopp makes a comment, "I didn't mean to drop you. Please be alive. Don't go dying on me." Which we've had the, I guess, fear that one of the vassals would die because they fought a very hard-fought battle, especially Kinemon. He took what I would say not the majority, but the most damage out of the vassals. Out of the ones that fought Kaido on the rooftop. So there's been this constant fear of one of them might be dead. So why give us Usopp begging for Kinemon and Kiku not to be dead if it's not going to be a lead up to one of them being dead? I feel like this panel, along with the whole a vassal will die or all the vassals will die. But I think this is another good piece of evidence towards that, because Oda doesn't bring shit up without fleshing it out, in my opinion. So I don't think he'd have Usopp say this without it being relevant. I think we just see that a bunch of the samurai are still counting on Luffy with, I'm forgetting his name, the Kappa guy, the Kappa vassal, saying this nightmare won't end unless Kaido is driven from this land. And this is where our flashback starts. It starts with the vassals running away. Everyone is crying. Everyone's upset. We can see Dendro with the black hair again. And then we get to see someone, a female. I don't know if this is supposed to be Shinobu Young or just a random civilian or what. Or it could be one of the vassals. I don't know. But then we can see a hand holding a gun that has shot up into the air. Which then leads to Orochi and Orochi and Kaido talking. And Orochi says they have to be going to Kuri. They have to protect Momonosuke. And Kaido didn't know he had a son, so he's like, I'll deal with him myself. And then we see just Kaido's straight up mercilessness. He's just attacking civilians who are just in his way. And then we can see Orochi giving the order to shoot any of the quote-unquote vermin that defies their shogun. And then we get to see the aftermath of the Kozuki castle burning. And we, in my opinion, get another confirmation that Toki is dead because we got a straight-up dialogue. She was confirmed dead in Bakura Town. No one else was seen fleeing the ruins of the castle. So either she void blasted herself 20 years in the future, which she said she wasn't going to do, or she is actually dead. And then we can see another interesting scene, which is Orochi and Kaido confronting the daimyo, who we get to see all of them fully drawn out in all their glory. I don't think this is the first time we've seen all of them in their full glory, but this panel of the daimyo of Ringo is giving me some real strong Zoro vibes. Like, I mean strong Zoro vibes. And if I remember correctly, it was the one name of the village that Zoro grew up in. I'm forgetting it right now. But if I remember correctly, that's this guy's name. And he looks a shit ton like Zoro, especially when Zoro, I think, had that piece of straw in his mouth. He looked exceedingly like Zoro. Take that as you will. Zoro is from Wano theory, possibly. But then we can see the people of Wano rushing to fight Kaido and Orochi. We just get to see the aftermath of it. And we get to see a very interesting, but not at all surprising take from some of the people that fought. Damn it, if only that fool didn't have Kaido backing him. Which is just showing, like, Orochi is nothing without Kaido. Kaido is the one that has been being the hardest one to deal with. Orochi himself, without Kaido's defense, probably could have been killed very quickly. I think we get to see what, in my opinion, is one of the darkest, like, montage sequences. And it's people getting hauled off to work in the factories, the water being tainted, crops not growing with a mother holding her baby on her back, the people working the prisoners to death, the factories just keep on going. But in my opinion, the worst panel in all of One Piece, other than maybe the panel of the mother about to kill her child, is it's a noose. It is just a straight up noose on one panel by itself. And this, at least for me, makes this sequence, or makes this flashback, makes all of this hit makes it hit that much harder. Because Oda, I think he knows his audience. It is a shonen. He knows what he's aiming for. And that is just so fucked to put by itself. I went to see Orochi laughing his ass off at the people who ate the smile fruits. We get to see the prisoners that are insistent that Toki's word is true. But during the scene where he's talking about the smile fruits, we get to see what I'm going to assume, because of the outfit, because of the hairstyle, because of the fact that she's playing a shamisen and the mask, that we get to see Hiyori, or I guess in this case it would be Komurasaki, playing for Orochi not that long after her father's death, which I don't know how that line up timeline-wise, but that's just what I observed. And then we get to cut back to the current scene, sorry. And we get to see Orochi, who is on fire in Hydra form, threatening Komurasaki, I'm taking you to hell with me, that whole shebang. But then we get to see a very familiar face that we haven't seen in a while come in with the quote, "Seems things are getting out of hand here," and just Denjiro just straight decapitates Orochi. And unlike every other Orochi death, which would make me think, oh, it's a fucking cop-out, whatever. One, Orochi only had one head transforming this time, meaning that he, in my opinion, is out of lives. Two, it is paired up with the lantern that says, "Please make Orochi disappear." Again, strong. Third case is the fact that this is Denjiro. Denjiro is the vassal who was sworn to protect Hiyori. So if there's any vassal that's going to protect her and kill the man who has been the biggest issue, it is him. Also, we get to see a very, in my opinion, very, very sweet, when he comes in to kill Orochi, Denjiro also shields Hiyori, which is like, he wraps one arm around her, has the other arm out with the sword, but like, he didn't have to do that. It was just more of a, I promise to protect you, so I will. And at the end of the chapter, final 4 panels, we're going to see a lantern with the text, "Free us from this hell," with one in the background saying, "Give me a sip of clear water." And then Luffy and Kaido's attacks hitting, and then a close-up on both of them. Now, a very interesting thing that I'd like to note is this is the first time at the end of a chapter, because we've been getting the Luffy and Kaido duo panels for like 4 or 5 chapters in a row now. Not maybe in a row, but we've been getting them consistently. This is the first one that Luffy is not smiling in. He is pissed. And with the fact that the lantern is saying, "Free us from this hell," and how immediately the "Please make Orochi disappear" panel was to Denjiro killing Orochi, that makes me, at least me, believe that Kaido doesn't have too long left. With this being Luffy's biggest attack to date, with Luffy being serious, Kaido seemingly unveiling his final form, and just a combination of everything, and just, it would make sense if this is where Kaido goes down. Either, I don't expect it to happen next chapter, because that'd be really, not fast in my mind, but like, really weird, because we have to have even if the fight moves on very quickly, next chapter the attack hits, Kaido is dealing with it, he gets his whole, "Oh my god, I'm going down, this is it." But then we should, in my mind, getting at least a small Kaido flashback. Given the fact that we have gotten more and more explanation on Kaido recently, I think it only makes sense. Also, something interesting that I want to say is this is, in my opinion, the most depressing chapter of One Piece I have had to review. And that is it. But yeah, not a whole lot to theory craft about this chapter other than the cover story. But if you thought that this video was interesting, if you liked the content that I included in it, make sure to hit the like button. If you have anything you want to say about the video, say it in the comments. If you're new here but you like One Piece, be sure to subscribe. I do these for every chapter. They either come out Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And yeah, until next time, stay safe, have fun, and read more manga. Okay, guys. Bye.